like you lost another one.
What's up, guys? Keisha Uchiha here. This is, well, you could say 2 out of 3 or 4 of the videos I'm going to do. And this is going to be pretty much part 2 of what if Deku was the recarnation of the Night Heroes from For Honor. Now, pretty much I was looking at how much the like go, and pretty much y'all hit this up to 41 likes. That is goddamn crazy. I am surprised that y'all actually did this. Y'all actually like this. I'm actually amazed. Now, pretty much, we're going to do the recap, a little bit of the recap. If you don't want me to do this recap, just text me later on in the messages and I will understand. But pretty much, in this recap, Deku pretty much was born in the world into My Hero Academia after the countless battles he had and reincarnated of all the, you could say, night factions of all the characters that he lived through and pretty much died through. Deku pretty much finally understanding his new life and pretty much happy with himself. Oh, and also his grandchildren, his children to grandchildren passed on to pretty much live on into the My Hero Academia and around the world, you could say. Now, pretty much Deku was born in the world of My Hero with pretty much dark green hair and dark green eyes. Pretty much not really talking to anyone or not doing anything because he knows his whole life and all his memories, which he's extremely intelligent and stuff and knows all the languages, which he made a couple of friends in, and also been you could say best friends with Bakugo until Bakugo gets into, an asshole situation because he got power and also bully kids, which Deku went against him, and which Bakugo throws a, you could say, dangerous big explosion quirk at Deku, which Deku deflected it and kind of accidentally did the unblockable mace hit on his face, sending him flying with his nose to bleed and broken, which Deku said it was an accident and stuff, including the kid. Deku kind of want to understand how to control his power and his quirk, and also get his training back with all of his faction warriors and stuff, because like I said, he's rusty with all his being reincarnated and stuff. So he heads, you could say, to this mountain place and also around the world, but he mostly just heads to this mountain place to get his training, which he meets his two of his great great grandchildren, which one is, we're going to say, Licia. Pretty much she's a peacekeeper, keeping the legacy alive, and also the Conqueror boy of the Conqueror side of Deku Reincarnation is called, you could say, Hank. And they're pretty much, as a couple, I know what you're saying, but ain't that ancestor? No, it's not really, because it's all in different eras. Like, as Deku died, it switched to eras, but more or less, listen, if you want to call it ancestor, it's ancestor, but to me, it's not. It just has its reasons. It just works, alright? It just works. We're going to say that. But pretty much, they're pretty much understanding that Deku is the reincarnation of all, their great grandmother and grandfather and stuff, and they pretty much is talking to him, and you could say they bring their family and the Peacekeeper family and the Conqueror's family over, and if you're actually, did the rest of them come, like the Lawbringer, did the Lawbringer family and the Black Pirate? Yes, they all come, because once it came out, because I'm gonna say they all linked together, after, the great, those children of the Conqueror, Chicherian stuff, they found out, that, you could say, the Peacekeeper and them was all linked together, and so they kind of made an alliance to form to be together and to protect the world and stuff. They're kind of like the Age of Wolves, but not. Like they changed the name. Like they're the Age of Fighters or Champions, you could say. Now, Hank Licia pretty much calls in the rest, which out of the Chicherian family, the Chicherian is pretty much a woman, which is Rose. Her name is Rose. Pretty much coming in and saying, "So you're telling me that you're my great uncle?" Which Deku says, "Yes." Which she says, "Okay, then how about this?" Which she pulled, you could say, summon out a Roman sword and try to attack Deku, which Deku pretty much parries it and grabs her face and knees her in the face, which pretty much hitting her nose and make her nose bleed, which she hits the ground saying, "Ow." Which Hank says, "Wow, that looks painful." Which the lawbringer, or we're going to say pretty much Law, which that's his name because his family was pretty much lazy at it, and plus I'm lazy at it, pretty much says, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay, hon?" Which she pretty much says, "Yeah, I'm alright." Which she says, "Well, he really is my great grandfather. That nose hit, that crack at the nose was at the right point. Only a Chichiri knows that." Which, which Deku says, "Well, thank you. You shouldn't have done that. And plus, sorry, that was self-defense. He was trying to kill me." Which she says, "None taken." This is where the Gladiator girl comes out, or pretty much as her name is called as Hero, which that's her name is. She pretty much comes out. She pretty much is coming in saying, "Huh, so you're my great grandfather. Well, great grandfather, you could say. Okay, may I have a match with you?" Which Deku says, "Okay, later on." And all the rest comes in, including the one, the boy with the hoodie, pretty much Dark. Yes, I know, his name is Edgy, his name is Dark, but pretty much he comes out saying, "So you're my great grandfather." And they're all talking to Deku, which Deku is explaining, telling the whole history, what really down happened, like filling in the bits and pieces of broken time of what really happened in the war and what's going on and who really started this stuff. And they're all understanding, saying, "Wow, that's quite amazing." Which the P well we're gonna say Lucia pretty much X. So what about the birthmark on my left cheek? Can you tell me about anything? Oh, that's the pretty much it, you could say the crowns, the three crowns. Once in you could say 3 years, a peacekeeper will be given the three crowns tattoo on the side of her, you could say, cheek, her left butt cheek, which symbolizes that she keeps the peace around the world, and also she has the power to to judge, to judge, to execute, and to be a jury of who lives or dies, and no one cannot justify that, or they will pretty much fall. Which she says, "Huh?" Which Lucia says, "Huh? Neat." Now, Deku says, "Well, I gotta really get back to my training and head back to my mom. Head back to my mom soon." Which they say, "Wow, so you actually have a mom. Can we actually see her and talk to her?" Which Deku thinks it's not a good idea, but he says, "Okay." Now, Deku pretty much trains and understands his ability more. And like I said in the last video, he does chain of combos and stuff. He turns into more as a hybrid, you could say. Turning some weapons into a dagger and a sword into, you could say, the Chichirian sword with to the dagger and doing combos and stuff. Now, Deku pretty much heads back to, you could say, Japan or Tokyo. I forgot what place he lived at, but pretty much he'd head back to his mom's house and he pretty much hugs his mom, saying, "Hey, mom, I'm back." Which Inko says, "Oh, son, I'm glad you're back." He comes sit down this is where he says, "Well, can they come in? These are my great great grandchildren." Which Inko is saying, "What? Your great great grandchildren? What do you mean?" Which, you know, Deku says, "Can they please come in and I explain to you, Mom?" Which Inko says, "Okay." Now, if you're thinking it's a couple of people, no, it's a lot of people. It's the whole family tree. They all come in the house pretty much, talking to each other, saying, making conversation and stuff, all, just chilling, And like I said, they're a secret organization. They're the champions, the heroes that keep the world safe and with their abilities and stuff they have. Now, Deku pretty much tells everybody to calm down and let him explain to his mom and stuff. And pretty much they explain themselves and stuff, which Inko says, "Okay, this is a lot to take in, but okay." And she says, "This is really is tough right now." Which Deku sits by her and says, "I understand." And she says, "You don't understand. You're not a female." Which Deku says, "You remember I'm a recarnation of all those heroes? I was a female at one of those points, so I understand what you're going through. And I'm sorry, Mom, that I really didn't tell you and stuff and all that stuff." Which Inko says, "It's not your fault, sweetheart. I don't blame you." Which Deku pulls out a list, pretty much giving her like what to do and not to do as a female, you could say, like the better version. Which Inko pretty much does a smile and laughs a little, but she says, "Okay, sweetheart." Which Deku laughs a little bit. Now, Deku pretty much gets signed into the school and heads in, which everybody looks at Deku with his long hair. And his hair is kind of like tied up, but it's long. And we're going to say his back tips is a little bit dark black with red. And and the teacher's saying, "Would you like to explain yourself?" Which Deku pretty much says, "Well, hello, my name is Mizuku Midoriya, or you can just call me Deku. But I recommend if you call me Mizuku Midoriya, I will not hesitate to give you a smack if you say it out of disrespect. But I like to read, do research, I speak all languages. I also like to train and practice and work out. And I like to make friends. So that's me." Which the teacher says, "Take your seat, Deku." Which he does. Bakugo pretty much says, "Well, Mizuku Midoriya, look like you're back. Look like you're back here." Which Deku says, oh hey, Kashan, what you doing here?" Which he says, "I go to school here, you idiot." Which Deku says, "Oh, okay." "Well, I guess I'll be seeing you then." Which Bakugo gets a little angry, but he calms down because, he ain't trying to get in trouble. Now, this is going to be the start of the anime. Now, Deku pretty much is sitting down reading a book. Reading an inline book, you could say old books, old relics, you could say, from history. And he's pretty much reading it. And he doesn't do the whole. He does do to understand hero quirks and stuff and all that, and what they can do better with the quirks. But also, he likes to read old, like, Roman books and history and stuff. He's like, that's really crazy. Now, Paco pretty much comes in and about to try to do something to Deku, which Deku says, "I wouldn't recommend it coming near me because if you do it, I will hurt you. You're going to regret it." Which Bakugo doesn't listen, about to do some shit. Which the teacher comes in and basically says, "Everybody take your seat." And he does the whole speech thing saying, "What I'm kidding, all y'all want to become heroes." Pretty much lifting up his papers and stuff. Now, if you want to know what's going on with the whole family of the champions and stuff, they pretty much send out pretty much undercover spies or pretty much spies from the family tree, but really, it's just you could say the grandchildren they set up because since they met Deku first, so they pretty much go to Deku school, and which Deku regularly don't notice them, which because they're in other classes, except for one. Like Lucia is in the same class with Deku. Now, Deku's pretty much closing the book and going to his great granddaughter saying, "So tell me about your boyfriend, Hank." Which Lucy pretty much says, "I don't know, like I don't know if I should tell you." Blushing a little because that's her great grandmother, you could say. And Deku's saying, "Oh, it's fine. Come on, I understand about boys and stuff." Which she pretty much is, talking to him and stuff, and they're having a conversation and stuff. This is where Bakugo comes in and pretty much does the unspeakable and smack Deku in the back of his head, saying "nerd," and pretty much blows up his sketchbook on his desk. This is where Deku gets up and say, "I told you not to do that. Now I'm about to show you true darkness." Which Bakugo is, he feels the fear in that. Like he's a little afraid because that darkness got to him. And he's saying, "Yeah, right, nerd." And he says, "All right, meet me outside." Which Bucko says, "Okay, after school then, bet." Now after school came and Deku pretty much heads out, and Bucko has his goons pretty much around him. Now Deku pretty much has pretty much summons his Chichirian sword and says, "Well, who's ready to catch this first? To catch these hands first?" Now this is where we're gonna say one of the kids have a metal mutation where he can turn himself into metal. Charge at Deku. Now Deku grabs his pretty much his fist and slashes his leg, slashes both his legs, making him kneel down. Which he's saying, "What the? How did his sword cut me?" Which Deku pretty much punched him in the face because he's not going to kill them. The other one comes in with a speed quirk, which Deku summons his shield and sword, or you could say his shield, and bashes him in the face. Bashes him in the face, and he hits the ground, passed out. The other bully pretty much runs away, pissing his pants. Now this is where Bakugo says, "So you think you're all that, you nerd? Just because you have that quirk of yours or whatever it is, doesn't mean you're special." Which Deku pretty much says, "You're about to see true darkness." Which Bakugo runs at him and throws a big explosion. Which this is where Deku shields it, and pretty much does the same thing as he did before, and bats Deku. I mean, not Deku, but Bakugo in the face, which Bakugo is dazed. And this is where Deku wraps the chains and hold the ball in his hand, and he pretty much. And this is a ball with bumps, not spikes, because he didn't want to hurt Bakugo like that. But he pretty much grabs it, and he pretty much starts punching Bakugo in the face, like just hurting his face, making his face bleeding. He keeps doing it like up to 4 times, and then he finally does the fifth one, sending him flying to the tree. And he pretty much make the weapons superior say, "Ah, that was relaxing." And he pretty much grabs his stuff and goes. And this is where you guess that Licia pretty much is pretty much terrified, but also knows that he had it coming because he shouldn't have done that. Now, Deku is pretty much sorry. Deku is pretty much heading under the bridge to take the shortcut home. This is where the Sludge Villain comes and attack Deku. Now, like I said, Deku has those ability perks. And we're gonna say that's a part of his quirk. Like, those ability perks is a part of his quirk. And he also has another quirk, which you're gonna say, okay, well, this is basically like for on a video game where you can respawn. You trust me, y'all gonna say that. Now, the Sludge Villain grabs onto Deku, and Deku pretty much can't, get it off, and he's pretty much having a struggle and stuff. This is where Deku pretty much, you could say, die. Now, Deku, one of his quirks or his ability, his mutation quirk, you could say part of it, pretty much has, those abilities from, like I said, those Peacekeeper had the last laugh, or you could say as an ability, but it's more like a part of the quirk and stuff. And Like all the characters had their own unique abilities. So when Deku died, the Sludge villain pretty much said, "What the hell?" And a bomb comes out of nowhere and blows up, pretty much blowing him and Deku up. Now, Deku respawns pretty much at the end of the bridge, saying, "What the hell? I thought I died. I thought I blew up." Which, All Might comes to say, "I am here," and he just sees, and he looks at the wall, seeing just a whole bunch of guts and explosion and all that. Now, All Might saying, "Did you do this, kid?" Which Deku pretty much says, No, I didn't do. I think I didn't do that." Which All Might says, "Listen," and he's pretty much confused and saying, "Listen, if you don't know, you don't do it. Then it's okay. You can just go now." Which Deku says, "Okay," and he heads home. Pretty much just going to relax. Pretty much lays his head down, saying, "What the hell was that? Like, how did I die? Like, how did I come back to life?" Trying to figure out all that, contemplate. Now, this is part 2 of what if Deku was the reincarnation of the Night faction of For Honor. I know this was, you could say, tiny bit short. Well, you could say, but I'm going to, do the hero, the UA exam and the hero thing on the part 3, okay? But this is going to be part 2 for now. You know, the gig. Like, comment, share, do all that. And also, subscribe for those who doesn't subscribe to my video. But I'm Keishan Shia. Thanks for watching, and peace out. Pizza!